you happen to hear about it?
From some friends who saw it and thought it was absolutely marvelous.
Probably I'll be very insulted.
Rex Reed told us that it's fabulous.
Would you come out at midnight to see it?
Why go home at midnight? What are you going to see there?
I guess there's just two kinds of people, Miss Sandstone. My kind of people and assholes.
It's fantastic. It's the third time I've been to it. It's an incredible head scene for people. Oh, it's marvelous. Absolutely.
Disgusting thing I've ever seen in my whole life. Not to be believed.
Absolutely outrageous.
It was divine. Fabulous.
Oh my God, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why are you stop it?
That was even better than Cries and Whispers.
I think it's the future of city living.
Fantastic. It was really fun. Excellent.
Yes.
Loved it. Really good. Really good. Right? It was great.
Piece of garbage.
The only part I didn't like was snakes. I have an aversion to snakes.
It was divine. I love religious movies.
It's a little gross, but I liked it.
Well, it was really the grossest film I'd seen.
I think John Waters has got his finger on the pulse of America. I think he's got his thumb securely up America's ass.
I enjoy dirty things as much as everyone else does, but this isn't even dirty. It's just disgusting.
Hello, welcome to Movie Umpers. My name is Bob Sham.
My name is Angela.
The sounds you hear may be dogs. We're in our final week of Movies Are Gay until we go into Propaganda and Glory, our war movies, which are still kind of gay, but we're still gay in this last week with our second annual. And down in the stretch, we're leaving suppression behind. Well, we may touch on it a little bit on the way. But finally, we're going to go into the full-on gross-out glory. That is a Mr. Maybe you've heard of him. Our first discussion of a John Waters movie. For our generation, Hairspray was probably I think it works out that we all saw Hairspray, and then you're like, what is with this John Waters guy? Maybe you catch Crybaby after that, Serial Mom, and then you go back.
Yeah.
Of a certain generation, you go back, you explore early John Waters, and that's why we're discussing today Pink Flamingos from 1972, directed by John Waters, written, produced, cinematography, edited by John Waters, starring Divine, Mink Stoll, Edith Massey, David Lochary, Danny Mills, Mary Vivian Pierce, among many others. You know, my favorite aspect about John Waters is that he's very resistant to discussing himself like he's an inspiration.
Well, what do you say to young gay people? What should they be doing?
Don't ask me. I'm queer, but I'm mentally ill. I don't know what you should do.
First of all, let me apologize for my camera. If anyone happens to be watching on YouTube, I'm having webcam issues, so I had to revert to a program that looks like I'm on a Nokia in 2003, like I'm being recorded on a Nokia. So it's like the frame rate's not great. And our camera quality has never been, like, amazing, but usually it's at least better than this, but whatever. The thing I like about John Waters is that he's always resistant when people want to thrust upon him, like, Mr. Inspiration. He doesn't lean into that. He's just trying to be a fucking weirdo that does what he wants to do. And, you know, Pink Flamingos, it is a gay movie, but it's like it just happens to be a gay movie. That they happen to be that way. It's not that it's necessarily the point. It's just that the universe brought these people together in Baltimore, and they're going to do this because what the fuck else are they going to do?
He loves these people, and he uses them to their strengths to play these characters. He's writing these movies inspired by their life experience and their friends. There is definitely an aspect of pushing the boundaries, the gross out, stuff. You know, he wants you to be shocked. He does not call himself a role model. He is the king of filth.
And it's nothing wrong with being inspired by John Waters. I think it's up to an audience to determine inspiration. Yeah. But it does seem like if you're any kind of what is considered a cultural minority in North America, whether you're gay, trans, you know, black, Asian, whatever, if you're trying to represent something in this society, that there seems to be a lot of stuff that is trying to push you into some kind of like be an inspiration narrative, right? One thing that being a cisgendered, hetero, normative male, cisgender, I prefer to be called a sissy if you're going to call me cisgendered. No one's coming up to me and asking me, like, no one's expecting that inspirational shit from me. And one might say it's because, you know, the white man has been a domineering force, but it almost is a point of my own, you know, male, hetero, white privilege that I don't have to answer or force like stupid fucking questions like that. Whereas everyone who just wants to do what they want to do is going to be constantly asked, if you're a minority individual, you can't just be your weird self. It has to be, people are trying to filter you through this sense of inspiration. Just do what you want to do. And if you inspire, you inspire. But this language where you hear these artists, like when they ask, if you hear an artist, right, that is asked, like, why do you do this? And then they go on this fluff, I just want to be an inspiration. It's like, I don't know. That sounds like a bullshit response. You want to do what you want to do. You hope you get famous for it. You hope you make a lot of money doing it. If you're driven to do it, if you inspire, that's great. But this question, and I love how John Waters resists that notion. He doesn't want to be, he's not trying to be a hero. He understands if he will be, but he just wants to do what he wants to do. And it doesn't need to be a bunch of fluff bullshit, right?
If anything, what he wants to inspire people to do is just do the fucking thing.
Yeah.
He said that before, you know, if you want to make a movie, fucking make a movie. They made a movie with no money, borrowed shit, stolen shit.
Yeah, like, not a lot of money at all. Like, in 1972, this cost $12,000, and the box office was actually really good over a long stretch of time.
The majority of that $12,000, I believe, came from his dad.
Yeah.
Who he paid back with interest.
Right.
He loves to tell that.
We had a little supplementary interview with him and Jim Jarmusch in our Criterion version of this, which I highly recommend the Criterion if you don't already have it, if you're a John Waters fan, because the extra bits, there's a recreation of the newspaper.
It's very cool.
And I do also want to say, just in general, before I forget to say it before we leave our movies or gay theme, is that I am so grateful to specifically the gay community, not as a whole. Like, some of y'all gays are annoying, I'll be honest.
Some of everyone is annoying.
Some are mean, but I kind of like the mean ones. They love movies. And it seems like, it just seems like when I have a lot of conversations about movies, especially when I talk about older movies, it seems like gay culture is holding that corner down in terms of knowledge and appreciation in a way that is different from anyone else. Especially of a certain age. If I talk to a gay person of a certain age, if you know a little bit about old movies, then you can just talk. But I'm just so grateful for gay culture, for preserving this aspect of movie appreciation. And I think it's my favorite aspect of movies and gay culture and how they're intertwined in that. It does seem like for a significant portion of gay culture that movies are important throughout history. I just want to be an inspiration to them. So yes, I'm happy to inspire and be inspired. Pink Flamingos from 1972. Who's trashier, the Babs family or the Marble family?
Babs.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
In the Jarmusch supplement, Waters says that the Marbles are maybe more trashy because they're feeding drugs in inner city schools. No, the Marbles are tryhards.
Exactly. That's my whole thing about it. Babs is just being herself. Divine is just being Divine. Her family, they're just doing what they're doing. This is who they are. The Marbles are trying to be the filthiest people. Babs is not caring.
She just
who's up against her. She just is. She's living her life. She's actually in hiding because she doesn't want people to fuck with her. But these folks are going out of their way to try to get some sort of filth notoriety. They are doing worse things. They are worse people.
They're leaning more towards scum. Is there a difference between trash and scum?
Well, it's filth. You know, they're dirty, they're gross, they do what they want, whatever. They eat shit and fuck chickens. But the Marbles literally running a baby ring. They're kidnapping and raping women, selling their children to exclusively lesbian couples. That's fine that they're working with lesbian couples, but otherwise,
does that
everything
balance
that I
out?
said in that
Does that balance out for you?
No, but I'm just saying everything else I said in that sentence is wrong. Like, there's nothing filthy about working with lesbian couples, but they also are making all this money that they say they're putting into like smut businesses around town. You know, they have porn stores and whatever, and it's like.
They artificially inseminate women by jacking off in their hands and using a syringe.
One time, apparently, that's the first time he's done that, and he raped people before that.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah, I'm sure that was real cum. I'm just assuming that was real cum.
I don't know why it wouldn't be. There's a real blowjob in this movie.
Yeah. Well, that's another point where that's how you know Babs is the Babs family, Divine's family, is true filth, because they're getting revenge on the Marbles, licking their house. They're licking their house. And Babs is so enthralled with how filthy they are that she blows her own son crackers. And this is in front of no one. She just falls into that.
The whole thing is they're licking everything in their house. And they don't really say why, but they need to like get their essence into this house. Well, then later when the Marbles come home, their couch rejects them. Their chair rejects them. They're throwing them off of their own furniture because it's been contaminated by the actual filthiest person in the world. She gives her son a blowjob. The blowjob is not what's upsetting. What's upsetting is that it is her son.
I mean, not in real life.
But it's not really her son.
Sure.
She's not even really a her. You know, I mean, Divine is playing a woman.
The hardest to watch scene is the chicken scene.
The chicken scene is the hardest
because
to watch,
they got these feeder chickens and they were going to slaughter them for them when they bought them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, I mean, these chickens were doomed, but these chickens get fucked up in this scene. And they're not really fucking the chickens. Waters has made it a point to point out that chickens aren't really getting fucked.
But the chickens are between the two people who are fucking. There's blood.
They're getting fucked up.
Scratched and clawed.
No, these chickens were pretty much doomed anyway, but they do not survive this scene. And and he did say in the interview that that's maybe the one thing he wouldn't do again, which, it is a little rough, you know, watching. That's the thing with 70s movies. As good as they are, I love that decade of movies. But sometimes something will just die in it. Like, oh, shit, right? You never know what you're going to come across. I probably will never watch Cannibal Holocaust. Apparently that's a little too exploitive anyway. But terrible things happen to animals in that movie. But
I don't want to watch terrible things to animals.
We've already watched Pink Flamingos. And Friday the 13th, which we're gearing up for a 6-pack, I know they kill a snake in that first one.
They do.
And yeah, that is a rough one. But yeah, blowing your son, eating dog shit, that's fine.
Before we ever get to the blowing the sun part, obviously there's the chicken fucking. The whole thing about that is so interesting to me is Babs' family is Babs, her mother, Miss Edie, the egg lady.
She's great.
I love Edith Massey.
Did you sleep well?
Oh, Babs, I slept so well. Where did you get this train? Did you sleep in the caboose last night? How did you know I love trains?
Oh, it's not a train, Mama. It's our new mobile home.
I like eggs, but I didn't like them quite as much after sit through this movie.
You bring me 50 eggs a day, and I can come and visit Babs and Cotton and Crackers, and you'll buy me new girdle and bra and pretty under things.
Yes, Edie, yes. I'll make you the happiest egg lady ever. Don't you worry about that.
The part where there's just scrambled eggs all over her boobs. It is a little gross, but the egg lady is the most innocent character in this movie.
And she sits in a playpen. It's their mother.
It's Babs' mom.
They're constantly feeding her eggs.
It's all she wants.
And it's really funny because she's so obsessed with eggs that whenever anyone who isn't in her family shows up, she's like,
Are you the Eggman?
Well, she's obviously a little touched.
Edie, sweetie, Edie.
In the head.
And the Eggman actually shows up and he proposes to her.
He loves her.
I guess they are perfect together.
I love the egg suitcase that he presents to show her all the many kinds of eggs, and she wants them all. They also live with Cotton, who is played by the beautiful Vivian Pierce.
Yeah, Mary Vivian
Pierce, thank you. She's gorgeous. She's the only person who's in all of his movies. She is their traveling companion. She does not like to be touched. She watches Crackers have sex with other women, and when he is doing this chicken thing, it's because he's trying to impress Miss Cotton.
You know, in the 1969, the Manson family murders occurred, and there was this narrative that, like, the innocence of the hippie generation, blah, blah, you know, forming this narrative. And it seemed like John Waters, after that occurred, that it was almost, as it would appear, like the cultural floodgates were open, and John Waters was like, finally, my time is here. And I know he is obsessed with the
He went to the trials.
Crackers looks like fucking Tex Watson.
I know you put the picture up above me
and
of the free Tex Watson.
I'm pretty sure that in the Marbles living room, that little picture on their corner table is of a Manson family member.
I actually Googled that to try to find it. I didn't spend enough time because I couldn't figure out who it was.
Because it had that long hair. They all kind of have the Yoko Ono posture, you know, the courtroom imagery. Really just proves that nothing is ever that innocent. But John Waters, he always knew that, right? He always knew that that hippie shit was never that innocent. The floodgates are open. The facade is down, and he's relishing in it. And now we're going to have Divine, one of the most legendary drag queens of all time, shoving meat next to her crotch.
She steals the meat in her crotch.
We're all over the place here. I don't think this lends itself to just going through the plot.
The plot is, in one sentence, Babs is the filthiest person in the world, and the Marbles are trying to become the most filthy people in the world. Within that, it's just a cast of characters doing what they do. I mean, things happen. There are beats, but there's no real story other than the Marbles trying to take Divine and her family down.
You know, you can go through a lot of movies that have shock value for whatever reason, but the thing that separates John Waters from all of those is that he's actually trying to be funny. You can tell he thinks this weird shit is funny. He can convey that very well with no money and just, and it also helps that it's all his weird ass friends. But it just comes through. His early movies, as fucked up as they can be, it makes you want to go hang out with all of these people and even maybe be completely harassed or whatever by these people.
I used to fantasize about being in the Dreamland crew.
We're the voyeurs in this. We're the ones living vicariously through these people. It's us that are truly relishing in what they're doing. Their enjoyment of being around each other and how much fun they are. And that lends itself to a genuine humor, makes it different than anything that's just trying to be shocking for shock's sake. You know what the closest thing I would actually correlate this to? And John Waters has appeared in, I think, at least one of their movies. The Jackass shit. Like, the way they are together, like, a lot of people can do these crazy shit, but there's something about their combination during their prime that made it feel different than anything else. And it makes sense that John appeared in one of those movies because I can see that line there. There's one point where the Marbles, they're going around, they're sexually harassing people in public, waving their dicks at people. They like to
It's David Lockery playing Mr. Marble.
They tie sausage to his flaccid penis, and that's how he goes around and exposes himself. Well, he walks up to this one woman, and her response is to plop her tit out, and then she lifts up her dress, and she's got a penis, and she starts shaking it at him. You're not the filthiest person alive.
Exactly. If he was the filthiest person alive, he would have started blowing her.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that too. Right then, you're not the filthiest because you're scared by this? Fuck you, dude.
Marbles, you're just try-hard scumbags, all right? Well, Babs has a birthday party at some point, and they call the police to break it up. And this is after she was mailed a turd.
Which was an actual turd that Divine shat.
And they went to the post office, and the turd was in the box. And
the man working there is really the post office worker, and he did not know there was a turd in that box.
John is narrating it as Mr. J.
Across town, located in the teeming metropolis known as downtown Baltimore, live Connie and Raymond Marble, two jealous perverts that hate Divine's fame and notoriety more than anything in the whole world. For Connie and Raymond Marble, it was the beginning of the end.
Turns up his Baltimore accent, and apparently that was an ode to this local Mr. Ray who did weaves and wigs.
Let Mr. Ray give you softer, sexier hair today. Call 466-4200 now, or visit Mr. Ray in Baltimore for the best hair weave at the lowest price in town.
Local TV ads, they're not as good as they used to be. I'm not usually much of a look back and everything's better kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm a little reactionary when it comes to local ads. I miss the classics.
So much of John Waters' inspiration was from what he saw on TV when he was young, growing up in Baltimore. There's this guy, Mr. Ray, who, again, he asked him to do this movie, but Mr. Ray said no. The whole premise of Hairspray is based on a television show that he watched when he was a kid that was a local Baltimore show.
Well, the cops come to bust up Babs' birthday party, and they eat the cop. They cannibalize the police here.
Cannibalize the police.
The police are going to come for us. If we threaten to eat them. Eat the police.
This is the point, too, where the Eggman has asked Edie to marry him, and he's rolling her around in a wheelbarrow around the yard. There's so much shit going on.
The Marbles do burn that trailer down, and that's when Babs and Crackers get revenge by licking their entire house. And they also find this guy who they've imprisoned. Why is this guy imprisoned down here?
So this is their servant who is the one who impregnates the women who are in the basement that they're making have these babies for them. He gets in trouble because the Marbles come home and he is wearing Ms. Marble's clothes and has a red wig on to look like her because she has red hair and pubes. Her husband has blue hair and blue pubes. And so he's pretending to be Miss Marble. And for some reason, him play acting as her and wearing her clothes is cause for them to not just fire him, but to lock him in the closet. Because I guess now he's their prisoner also. They won't just let him go. He actually says,
Connie and I have to go out for a while. We want to be sure you stay in your room, so we're going to lock you in. Lock me in? I won't go anywhere, Raymond. Please. You shouldn't mind staying in here, Channing. It's rather obvious that you are, to use vulgar slang, a closet queen, as they call it. Oh, no, Raymond, please. Don't let me in, please. I won't go anywhere. I'll just stay here and be me when you're gone. I won't even think about being you. Oh, please.
Well, the women that he's been raping are like, no, he's a scumbag, and they let him basically castrate him and kill him.
yeah, Divine and her son Crackers let the women cut his dick off.
Yeah. And, well, the Marbles eventually do come home, and that's when Divine and Crackers abduct them, and they bring them out to where their trailer was. This movie is also kind of weirdly country, too, with that little trailer. They're somewhere outside of Baltimore on someone's land, and they have a big trial, and the press is there, and the press aren't trying to, they're like, oh, this is going to be good shit. And this is when we get the best monologues. They're asking,
could you give us some of your political beliefs?
Kill everyone now. Condone first-degree murder. Advocate cannibalism. Eat shit. Filth are my politics. Filth is my life. Take whatever you like.
Yes.
How's this for a center spread?
It's where the philosophy of this family truly comes out. And the dialogue here, pretty iconic, I would say.
Give me more questions.
Divine, are you a lesbian?
Yes, I have done everything.
Does blood turn you on?
It does more than turn me on, Mr. Vader. It makes me come. And more than the sight of it, I love the taste of it. The taste of hot, freshly killed blood.
And then they end up executing the marbles because they're not true filth. And the newspaper runs with it. But that's not all. I kind of get confused in these early John Waters movies of when I thought it was maybe Multiple Maniacs where she ate the shit. But then here we go. You see the dog near the end of the movie. The dog takes a dump. And you see Divine just reach down. This is why she is the king of filth. Chews this dog shit. She retches for a second. And then like forces like a smile. It's like so
grin.
demented. Oh. Oh. And then they go to Boise. That's pretty much Pink Flamingos.
They eat the shit in Boise.
Oh, that's where they already were at
I
Boise?
believe they eat the shit in Boise because it's the three of them walking down the road with their Boise sign. Or maybe it's they're trying to get a ride to Boise.
I think they're trying to get there.
Okay. In that moment, though, John Waters, as the narrator, says...
As Divine proves that not only is she the filthiest person in the world, she is also the filthiest actress in the world. What you are about to see is the real thing.
It's so gross.
Apparently, Divine was very concerned that
of course
he was going to get really sick from doing this. And he'd already agreed to do it. And I can't remember if it was the night before that he stayed up all night worrying or if it was the night after that he stayed up all night worrying. Obviously, he was fine from this. But it kind of freaked him out. It was the one time that he was a little unsure of what John was asking him to do. This
is the start of his filth trilogy. This is the point, and then Hairspray becomes the next point from that point on. And this is there will never be you could even if someone recreated this movie frame by frame, it still wouldn't feel the same.
No.
You can't. There's just something about this movie, its place, its time, in reaction to the attitudes of its time, its setting, its city. It's just not going to be like this, no matter how hard someone might try to emulate this guy. It's never going to come together in the way, in the tone, in the delivery, in the way this does here. Well, that's Pink Flamingos. We're going on this last week on some high notes here. Pink Flamingos, 1972, directed by John Waters. You're going to give 1 through 5. I'm going to give it 1 through 5. Combined for best out of 10, I'm going to go a 4.5. He's the king of filth, and this is the evidence of it. Filth will never be executed in this way ever again.
I'm giving it a 5.
A 5, okay. That's right. The iconic John Waters film Pink Flamingos has made it to S tier. It sits between The Phantom Thread by Paul Thomas Anderson and the movie Possession from 1981. Right there in the new S tier, hallowed halls. John Waters, our first John Waters, makes it on. Check the show notes for links, other places to find us. Like and subscribe, leave a comment. War movies coming next week. And but in the meantime, this week, we are gay.
Movies are gay, and so are you.
Eggman, anybody home?
Cotton, I'm in here. I hear the Eggman. In here, Mr. Eggman. Egg. Oh, help, God. In here, Mr. Eggman. Here I am. Oh, the Eggman.
My little princess to die.